Hey! And we're live. Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of Old Reader, New Reader. I'm Amanda, and I have with me your leader, Omar, and of course, Maddie extraordinaire. And we are here to talk about Fade Out by Ed Brubaker and Shawn Phillips. So let's go ahead and get this started, huh, guys?
Yeah,
Yeah.
before we do, did you just acknowledge me as the leader?
I guess so. Don't take
Okay.
that.
No, I'm good with
Boy,
that.
there
I
goes
think,
your head.
not sure why you two are laughing. I think that's really it's really true. Yeah, let's take this Fade Out, which is available in trade paperback format, original comic books. This is a collection of all 12 of these self-contained issues. So the deluxe hardcover is the way that I bought it. I think Amanda owns it, and
Yep.
honestly, if I were to recommend this book, this is the way that I would recommend you to get it because it is beautiful.
It looks
And
so nice. As soon as my buying ban's over, I'm gonna pick that
that's right.
up.
And honestly, like it's cheap, and these compared to like Marvel books this size, so retail price on this is $50. But if
Yeah.
you want to go the cheaper route of trade paperbacks, around the $9.99 to $15, $17 each, and then there are three of those. And before we get started, this review and talk and discussion will have some spoilers. So there is that. So if you have not read this and you're really wanting to read it, you're more than welcome to comment after you've read it, and or join us now if you don't really care about spoilers. All right, ladies, I'm gonna let you all talk first. I've
Sure.
said my piece for now. I'm gonna keep an eye on the chat.
All right. Um, so I was really excited to read this book, and I think that's kind of why I ended up buying it because, for those of you who don't know me that well, I love Hollywood. I love reading about Hollywood, nonfiction, etc. And I think this time period during the 50s when we had McCarthy, um, and all the un-American committees activities going on, I thought that was very interesting, and of course the studio system. So I was really excited to get to read this, and I also loved it because to me, I thought it read like a movie, the way everything played out. So I enjoyed this immensely.
Yeah, I felt the same way with it, and especially the movie part, like that's the kind of show or movie that I love to watch. I love crime. I love true crime. I love mysteries. I listen to a ton of true crime podcasts on the regular. And so reading this was really nice. And it was a nice breath of fresh air from reading a lot of superhero books lately, which I love reading, but it was nice to have a little bit of variety with that. And I've never read a comic like this that wasn't like a manga or something. So it's my first kind of foray into that. Um, it was really nice. I mean, the art's beautiful. I love that noir style. All
Hmm.
the characters were drawn so well, and you could very easily pick out the differences between them. Especially like the two women that are supposed to look very similar.
Yes.
Surprisingly, like maybe not at first, but towards the end, I could really see the difference in how they were drawn. And like that really takes, I don't know, it's a keen eye, I guess, to be able to draw in a way that's very similar but distinguishable. I loved it. I loved it, and I've heard really good things about Brubaker, and I was glad to hear that I would not be wrong, or my friends weren't wrong about it. So I'm really excited to read more after this too. So
Yeah.
yeah, Omar, how was it rereading it?
I made sure I muted myself so you two could talk because I like to butt in every once in a while. I enjoyed it a lot the second time, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I just read this last year for the first time. The hardcover came out, I think, September of 2016, and I read it last March, so March of 2017. So it's been a little over a year, and I had completely forgotten it, and I had mistaken it for his other crime noirish book, Fatale. And I'm like, where's all the like mystical elements that I remembered? Oh shit, wrong book. Awesome. I'm glad I forgot about it because I loved it. I forgot how it ended. I forgot about the mystery and how it began. So it's your one of my favorite things about getting the hardcover is it kind of gives you like a little introduction about the time that this was taking place. I think maybe not an introduction in the hardcover, but it's in the back. Like when exactly this is taking place, like why they do the blackouts in Hollywood, because everybody was afraid of like the Japanese bombing them, so they wanted to make sure they blacked out the cities. And it also gives you a list of like the blacklist actors and actresses and screenwriters. So the beginning starts off with Charlie, right? Charlie, this guy right here, Charlie Parrish, and I love this about the hardcover edition too. I don't know if this is in the trade paperbacks, but I love that they begin it with this because you are being thrown into a cast of characters you know nothing about. So something like this really helps out in a book like this because this is a standalone story. So it is Charlie. He's a screenwriter. He just came back from the war, and he's kind of like burned out on screenwriting. He has no ideas. So he's using his buddy, who is still a writer, but a shitty typewriter. Like he can't use the typewriter to write stories for him, and he takes the credit because his friend is also blacklisted. Starts with Charlie waking up at a party with a hangover in a bathtub and finding Valeria Summers, this pretty lady right here, dead. And I mean, who hasn't woken up like that after a wild night out? So I can relate, Charlie. I get it. So then it's like the mystery of like, holy shit, did I do that? And then, of course, right off the bat, he's like, no way I didn't. There's no way I killed this poor woman. So then it begins like this whole mystery because the studio themselves are trying to do a cover-up. They're like, oh, no, she committed suicide. It was not murder. So he knows something's going on, and I will let you two take it from there.
Sure. So I think that's what really starts to drive the book for us then is just you have Charlie who he knows that it wasn't suicide just deep down. He knows he didn't do it, but he knows it wasn't suicide. And other people in her life know there's no way she would have killed herself. Like, I'm trying to think of that one gentleman who was in Crazy Kids with her, the black guy. What was his name? Jack Flapjack Jones. When they're in the when they're at the funeral, he's like, "There's no way she would have killed herself." And then even his friend Gil realizes that too. And I think all of this, it really just helps to fuel. I think it's interesting to see that how this woman's death affects all these different characters and their own personal and inner demons as we move forward in the story. So I like that. I think that's interesting. Did anyone? I did not actually. Connor said, "Did anyone else think that Valeria Summers looks like Valeria Summers looks like Buffy Summers?" You know what?
I don't
see
it.
It could have been Sarah Michelle Gellar. There we go. Trying to think of an actress to play her.
Yeah, Amanda likes to play this game of casting her comic book characters. It's quite cute, actually, because she takes it like really seriously. Like you can't joke about it because she gets fucking pissed.
I don't get that upset. But no, I mean, I think that's really interesting how they used it to help drive the story because it's about her murder, but I also think it's more than about her murder, right? I mean, this is not just.
I really agree because I felt like I was so enthralled in all of the characters and the world building in this book and developing those characters that at times I forgot that we were even worried about her murder because there was just so many layers to this. Then I really liked that, not because it's a mystery, but that's not the only part of this book. Mm-mm. And I don't even think it's the best part of this book. I think the best part is just, you have the main two characters and how they develop and how they're affected by everything around them. And how imperfect they are, which I like too. You can definitely say that all these characters are very imperfect. There's no one that comes out really on the top, except for maybe Dottie.
Yeah, Dottie. No nonsense, buddy.
And yeah, I found myself too just kind of getting more lost in each character's individual story than I did Valerie.
It is interesting, like, how many characters there are, but it's still, like, Charlie's story, right? But you get to see a lot of characters just jump in here. That's why, thank goodness for that little table of characters at the front. That really helped out a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, the only characters that sometimes may have gotten a little bit confused until later on were some of the studio execs for me. But then once I was able to delineate or differentiate between who Thursby was and who Al Camp was, then it made it a lot easier. And I was like, oh, okay, there's an old creep, and then there's a guy who's kind of creepy who has a back, a back maze to all the women's dressing rooms.
Right,
Okay.
which, oh my gosh. Oh,
Yeah.
man, that's so creepy.
But there's a lot of creepy stuff in this book, to be honest, as far as that stuff is concerned.
And that definitely fits the time. I mean, and probably
Yes.
still now, but I mean, especially for then, because there were a lot of murders that were happening. Like
Yeah.
we had those big profile murders at that time, right? Of starlets and actresses.
Black Dahlia is
and
what I
not
kept
just like
thinking.
Black Dahlia.
Mhm.
Yeah, but there were definitely a few others that I can name. I feel really bad about that, but you had these cases back then too, so this is definitely very fitting. And man, that guy was creepy. They're both creepy.
Al Camp was really creepy.
I will say, if you've never read this, like if you like movies like Chinatown or LA Confidential, you're gonna love this. If comic book is your medium, like you are absolutely gonna love this because it has all those. It borrows a little bit of elements from a lot of those type of movies, but it's done so well. Like you could see this as an HBO limited series of like 10
Yes,
episodes.
100%.
Oh, for sure, and it should be. And I hope. I know a lot more like comic book series are being picked up for TV and movie, and not just superhero based. Like I was
Yes.
just listening to a podcast this morning about Seth Rogen talking about Preacher and how he wants to bring even more comic books to life. Like this one would be such a. It's you don't even have to do anything with this one. It's like take it, panel by panel. You've got
the
your
story
miniseries.
And you already got Ed Brubaker HBO. He's on
Yeah.
Westworld, so you might as well get this.
Exactly right.
So let's talk a little bit more. I want to stop talking about the story for a second and just focus on the art, this wonderful Shawn Phillips artwork. Now, these two guys have been collaborating for very many years. They have done things ever since Scene of the Crime, and these books are right behind me, and I can't read them. And they did, the Fatale book that I was talking about. And they also did some stuff for Marvel, like Captain America and Criminal, and the Incognito. And I cannot remember the book that they did for Vertigo. I'm sorry, DC, which was a Wildstorm characters. Oh, what was that? Sleeper. So these guys have been working together for a long time, and Shawn Phillips is like his go-to artist. But I think this is my favorite collaboration between the two guys. And I think what really did it for me was the colors, because I cannot talk about the book without talking about this wonderful colors by Elizabeth Breitweiser. I assume that's how you say her name.
Yeah.
Who lives where, Amanda? Where would she live again?
In Little Rock, Arkansas, where I used to live. If I had known
you creepy
then,
stalker.
I probably have ran into her at Walmart and never even knew.
I'm sorry, but with a name like Elizabeth Breitweiser, she does not shop at Walmart. It's Target all the way.
Yeah, well, they only had like one Target in Little Rock. Let's get carried away. She had to go to Bryant to get to Target.
Right, focus on the book. Focus on the book.
Anyways, but no, I agree about the colors. I think that's what, because I love the artwork, because what I love about it is, so you have your regular cast of characters, then you have the movie stars, and they really looked with Clark Gable, and they're like, they all need to kind of look like that, right? So you could tell Earl Rath from every other, it doesn't matter who it is. You could tell who Earl Rath is because he looks like a movie star. Whereas Charlie does not. He looks like an average man. And it's just so, I just think that's so cool how they, do the artwork and they differentiate between those characters so well. There's like something different about the male actors versus the other males in the story. And I love the color work, the muted tones. It just gives off that noir feel that you want. So that's why I think was class act.
Yeah, I do agree that the colors really make this a lot. I liked that there were so many scenes that relied on just like maybe 2 or 3 colors, and like varying degrees of those. And I really, especially any scene where they're inside and it's kind of dark inside and you have a little bit of light but not a lot. You know, very
Yes.
typical noir, right? But and usually you'd see noir maybe like a black and white sort of setting, but the way they subtly use these colors still give that vibe and kind of, I don't know. I wish I was eloquent enough to describe how the use of color can affect it, because
I couldn't even
really,
say
really
collaborate, so I'm gonna step out of that one.
Yeah, I saw Philip's comment there. Good job, Omar.
Very cute. English is my second language, Philip. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Oh, come on. But yeah, I mean, the artwork is phenomenal. I agree with that. And same with the colors.
So, saying that about the art, a lot of these characters feel like real actors and actresses or screenwriters that could have lived at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool. I mean, and he throws in like people like Clark Gable for like a
Yeah.
couple of seconds, you know.
Real actors,
and
yeah.
Real actors, and a couple of these are modeled after actors, a couple of his characters. But Shawn Phillips always does that in what Ed Brubaker tells him, okay, this is who I want. I want this Humphrey Bogart looking character. Done. You know?
Yep.
So
Mhm.
things like that. And I think that's what makes it so wonderful, because it feels so real. Except for Al Camp. I can't cast Al Camp. Maybe Jean-Luc Picard in like 20 more years.
No, I can't ever imagine him playing creepy Al Camp.
Really?
There's got to be an old
you don't think
creepy
he's-
actor, like the
his
guy from the
brain-
Six Flags commercials would be a really good, whoever that guy is, just cast him. He doesn't
Okay,
have to
I'm going to
really
stop you right there, Amanda, because if you can't tell that that's a woman in makeup, then you got bigger problems and you're not allowed to cast anybody. The Six Flags commercial old lady. Yeah. No. I'm going to stick with my Jean-Luc Picard in 20 more years. He's got enough range. He's enough of an
I guess
actor.
he could.
It would upset me so much if he
Yes.
played that role.
Never look at him the same way.
Yeah.
It could be like his comeback role. Like he's tired of being typecasted as the good guy.
Woody Allen, yes.
I don't.
Oh, did somebody say Woody Allen?
Yeah, Philip did. He's a creepy old guy.
I mean,
I'm
he's
all
pretty
for it.
creepy, that works.
I'm here for that suggestion.
That might hit too close to home for Woody. But
Yeah.
you know,
Or not. Oh, yeah. You know, with the
Anyway.
whole child.
I don't think he's ever killed anybody. Maybe.
Yeah.
Hollywood. Who knows? So, I have a question for you guys.
Go ahead.
To get off that uncomfortable topic before it goes too far. So, was the person you thought, or so in the beginning, the person you thought was the murderer, were you surprised at the end? Did they fit who you thought the murderer was, or did they not?
No, I thought it was Earl Rath, honestly. Or I
Yeah.
thought it was Brodsky who killed her. For some reason, I thought, the whole FBI angle, I liked it a lot, but I was expecting that she might have had dirt on someone and then Brodsky had killed her because she had dirt. That was what I thought was going to happen, which turns out she had dirt. It's just the wrong person it was just more convoluted than that.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to tell you all. If you all care to explain like the twist after twist, because I really enjoy that part of the story where you're led to believe, okay, I think I've got this figured out, and then you're like, oh shit, this is not where I thought it was going, which he seems to do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to explain like what ended up happening, Amanda or Maddie, since you just read it?
Yeah, I can explain it since I finished it right before we started the show. Sorry, guys.
Very
Made behind.
theoretical, according to Brodsky, but
Made in time. So basically, what happened at the party, everybody? Not like super spoilers, but there were only a certain amount of suspects, and we didn't know who was at the party at first because the main character is drunk and he forgot everything. And so we learn of the few people that are at the party. And honestly, a lot of the story kind of, like, to me, so it was the FBI who did it.
it's the FBI.
Spoilers.
Drake
the
Miller.
FBI guy did it. Drake Miller. He was there undercover in Hollywood, kind of to look for commies, right? And he abused that power to kind of start some stuff in Hollywood and wanted information from the beautiful Valerie, couldn't get it. So he killed her because he was so angry. So my relationship with that whole reveal, I watch a lot of this kind of stuff. And so I've already mapped out in my head every possible scenario. And to me, that was the most vanilla thing they could have done.
Yes.
It's obvious thing. But I thought I really feel like there is some beauty in that. And maybe beauty's not the right word. That's one that's in my head right now about it. But it was the most predictable one. And you don't really see it resolved. And I think I liked that about the book. I don't think the twist was the biggest part of the book. It was more about the journey of him, of Charlie going through that and getting on the other side of it, and how nothing really came of it for him, and he still wasn't happy. There's no big reveal. There's no justice for her. There's nothing. It was the most kind of just like, well, here's the shittiest situation. Here you go. And sometimes that can be kind of refreshing to see. You know, you don't have this big M. Night Shyamalan twist out of nowhere. That's like, because secretly I was like, I hope it's Dot. I hope Dottie did it.
Oh man.
And I would have been so excited about that. But sometimes it's kind of nice to have like, hey, actually the most vanilla route is what happened, and life sucks.
Yeah.
Sometimes this sucks. Crime is what you think it's going to be, and nothing comes out of it, and there's no justice in the world. Life is chaos. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't appreciate that until the second time I read it, because you're right. This is so vanilla. Like, it's not like, I'm like, where's the supernatural elements where they're sacrificing, you know, these girls to Cthulhu or creepy things like that. And then when you get to the ending, I remember now it's like, no, that would have come out of nowhere and it would have made no sense. The story is perfect because you said it. It's more about the character of Charlie. He's kind of like your everyday man that you can relate to. Well, maybe, I don't know about you ladies, but most men can relate to. You know, just no luck, down on his luck, and he's really hard on himself, even though most of the crap that happens to him is his own damn fault.
It's true.
So I think that's what this is more about. And I love the fact that there was no great twist. Like, I can't believe we went with fucking M. Night Shyamalan, but that's okay.
I'm trying the most extreme.
Okay. I guess, unfortunately, that's who we think of nowadays
With
when we
twist.
think of twist, is the great M. Night Shyamalan. But yeah, I like comic books like this, or I like stories like this, movies like this. And it is very noirish. Now, this is your first, both of y'all's first read. Like, I know it's Amanda's first, like, non-superhero book.
Yeah.
And I know, and it's Maddie's first taste of Ed Brubaker. It's your first, like, criminal book, right? Like, this is your first kind of comic book like this?
American one, yeah, because I've read a lot of Japanese manga like this. Monster, yeah. And
Can we talk about how
this,
wonderful Monster is and make Amanda read it?
can we do an episode on Monster? It would take a while. And it's not like an American comic book, but
I think there's only 18 volumes, right?
Do we have to only read American comics?
No.
There we go. There's your answer.
Monster's the exception to any rule ever, because
it is
it's the best
wonderful
thing that's ever existed.
Yeah, so if you've never read a manga and you like things like Fade Out or Criminal, gotta check out or give Monster a shot. It is so psychedelic and awesome, and so many. Now that does have twists.
Oh yeah,
it's not.
And we'd need a 2 or 3 parter. I feel like for all of what happens.
Maddie really feels strongly about Monster, and I feel like she could do 3 episodes by herself.
Yeah, but I've never read it either, so it'd be my opportunity to read it.
You've only seen the
watched
anime?
it. Yeah. So
I feel that way about 20th Century Boys too. That's a damn good book. But I think Monster I lean towards more because that's my kind of story.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of what he does. I mean, he for real is this generation's Osamu Tezuka. He is amazing.
I agree.
So,
anyway, Brubaker.
back to my question. Like, this is your first, Amanda. I'll let you go first.
Okay.
Since I asked you, this is your first taste of like non-superhero comic book. What did you think?
Well, it's technically it's not my first taste. In college, I had to read. It's more of a graphic novel, but her name is Alison Bechdel, and she did a graphic novel about her home life. It was her memoir. So that was my first taste. So I knew what to expect. But I think what I liked about it is that it wasn't full of flashy characters. It wasn't full of flashy colors. And it was it was a simple story, pretty much. It didn't have it didn't have a happy ending like we like our realistic films today to not have. And there's a lot of nuance to the characters. And so that's, sometimes you don't get that in your superhero comics. You have the clear delineation of who's a good guy, who's a bad guy, except for the more well-written ones. And so I think this was a lot of fun to read just because it was something different and it was refreshing to read something different in this format versus as a book, as a general, like a novel. It's just refreshing to see this written like that. But that's how I felt about it.
Okay. And Maddie, how did you feel about it? What did you think?
I loved it. I loved all of it. I thought it was really great. But again, it's definitely my type of thing. Like my type of story and fiction that I'd be really into. I think this would be, if it was an HBO series, like maybe just it'd be a good indie film. I feel like this is the kind of like a story I'd find a movie on, like I'd rent maybe like a French film or something, because nothing happy.
That's French cinema.
And it's very realistic.
Yes.
And I think place for those, and I don't want that to be all the time. That's one of the reasons I gravitate to superhero things. There's something to be said about how enjoyable the kind of quote unquote impossible, right? Full of hope and possibility and everything else. But there's also a lot of beauty in finding a piece of media or art that's just like this. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
And I left it I really enjoyed it, but I didn't leave it with like, oh, yes, this was awesome, or like, oh, what a twist, or, just anything crazy. Just like, yeah, it was good, and it was beautiful, and that's life.
Yeah, there's a lot of emotions to unpack, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that's what it is. All the characters, like you have Charlie, who's dealing with PTSD, basically, even though I don't think they ever came out and said it, because I don't know if we really truly had a word back then for it. And he's going through all of that, and with somehow he's able to track all the ladies, even when he's kind of upset. You have Gil, who's deteriorating before our eyes, at least his mental acuity is just really deteriorating. You have these female actresses who are trying to do whatever it takes, very similar to what we see currently, how they're talking about the casting couch and how things are in Hollywood. So there's just a lot of emotions to unpack. So yeah, you don't come back like, that was great. You come back, this is what I thought. I said, man, Hollywood would just salivate over a film like this with the right cast, the right direction. This is the kind of film that would get nominated for Oscars because they love movies about themselves. That's why La La Land picked up so many freaking Oscar nominations, because they love films about themselves. They just love it. Doesn't matter the time period, as long as it's good direction and good casting. Yeah,
I totally agree. And also the way they showed a lot of the adult relationships.
Yeah,
like non-platonic, I think it's really, really good in the comic. They really went for it.
Yeah, they did.
And I could definitely see that in an Oscar nominated film.
Right?
Because there's a lot of diversity in those relationships too. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot to unpack in each one, right? Especially with Charlie and how he is in all these different ones, right? Because he has the kind of romantic relationship with Summers.
Yes.
Right? Where he definitely has feelings for her, but not this overly passionate way. Almost kind of an innocent appreciation and love, but nothing overpowering, just a I don't know, sustained love for her,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
And then he's into Maya, but that's different. And there's like part of it is because of how his guilt and is chasing the ghost of
Yes.
Summers, right? But then there's more than that. They're much more like it's more passionate in between them.
Yes.
Then there's like the weird thing with Gil's wife.
Melba? Yeah, that's a little odd.
That was a little bit of a twist I didn't see coming. I was like,
yeah,
oh, that's where we're going to go.
Yeah, earlier in there when she looked back at him, I was like, there's no way they didn't get it on. And then later it was like, and then they super got it on in the kitchen. And I was like,
in front of Gil. Ugh.
They super got it on because that's a lot different than just getting it on.
Yeah, I was like, girl, you can't even just like turn a little bit because your man's right there, you know, like
take it
she's like, whatever. Listen, life's hard. My husband kind of sucks. This guy's pretty cute and he's real sad. I'll help him.
He's real sad.
And they still got together again, and I was like, yeesh, all right, well, okay. She's really pretty though.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
He missed number one best girl, which is Dottie. That's okay.
Yeah, he really just shot himself in the foot on that one. Just ditched her, and yeah, that's
I was hooked on those glasses.
But she took it in stride. She's a nice, strong character. But even, you know, we don't get to see much of Valeria, so we don't know anything about her character other than she's the dead woman who fuels everything.
Yeah, she's the Hitchcock.
The woman in the refrigerator. Oh,
no, I wasn't even going to bring that up. I was just going to say, she's your Hitchcock blonde type of woman.
Blonde. But then, like, even Maya, there's some strength to her that you don't think you see. But she's dealing with a lot with her ex-husband, and then you have all those racial tensions because she turns out to be Mexican, which I did not see. I just thought he was. I didn't know she was. So that surprised me at the end. But there's a lot of that too.
I was not.
It speaks to the time. Yeah.
I think when you say Hollywood, like how well like this would do as a movie, I keep thinking maybe Hollywood does not want this shit out because it's like so close to the shit that they do still nowadays.
Yeah, right.
With some of these, with some of these actresses. Like I could actually see this. Like, sadly, I can see a modern version of this. Like I still like the times like to think of it as a timepiece, but I could kind of see some of the scenes come like nowadays.
Oh, for sure. Which is why it'd be the perfect window to view all that right now. Like if they release this now, it's almost as if it was like purposeful social commentary
on what's happening today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they could just cast Harvey Weinstein and all these other cats over there.
He lost enough weight; he could play Al Camp. But
are you stalking Harvey Weinstein too? You sicko!
No, I try not to follow anything that's happening with that.
But anyway, yeah. So to me, this is one that I loved. I highly recommended. I still think that my favorite thing that Ed Brubaker has done is probably his. Well, I guess him and Greg Rucka's Gotham Central is phenomenal, and I definitely recommend anybody to read that if you have not read it. There's an omnibus available. It's the story of the Gotham Police Department. Like the night shift is written by Greg Rucka, and the day shift is written by Ed Brubaker. So it's like different stories and different issues, and it is fucking amazing because there's a lot of things.
Like a dream come true. I love
it was a dream come true. I loved it, that series. And that series kind of ties into Infinite Crisis in a weird way towards the end. But this, I really, really enjoyed the second time, and I appreciated it rereading it. So thank you, Jess, Omnidog himself, for suggesting this, because this was a great suggestion for an independent book. So to me, this gets a solid 5 out of 5. What about you, ladies?
I agree. I really enjoyed this book. It was a nice thing to read on my last week of class, because it was a nice distraction from that, obviously. But it was just enjoyable overall, and I've just really got into the story itself. So I enjoyed it. 5 out of 5 for me, also.
I agree, and I'm already ready to read more of his work because I already have Fatale on my laptop, so I want to read that. Yeah, I love the writing. It really drew me in. I'm excited to see what other kind of work he's produced. So I'm pretty pumped to read more.
Hmm. I agree.
Um,
I do have
Awesome.
questions for him about Westworld, but other than that,
I don't think he even knows what's going on in
I don't think
Westworld.
he knows either. I just want to know. Just some questions I have.
Well,
He
I'm
can
glad
answer
you
them.
two really enjoyed it. And I guess if there's any questions in the chat for the two ladies, you can go ahead and ask them while we talk about maybe what our next book would be. Oh yeah, or if you have suggestions for our next read, would you two like to go back to superheroes, or what would you like to read? What kind of stories? What kind of
I
books?
don't know. I'm pretty open to
Me too.
whatever. I know eventually we're going to do Infinite Crisis.
Which
Eventually, yeah, when Amanda gets done with her
I am
class.
done.
Okay, well then that's definitely coming.
I was like,
That will definitely have to be
Saturday was
split up
it.
into
I'm
three
done.
parts.
No more classes. That's it. I'm done. I'm never going to open another book that's related to business again. I lied. That's probably not true. But for right now, it is. Yeah, I'm all about Lock and Key. I have that. And aren't they coming out with a series on that in the future? Someone is.
Yes, there is a TV series
Is it
by
FX?
AMC or FX. I cannot remember who it is. Okay, so we're getting some suggestions. We're getting blankets. Oh my god, blankets! Clarknado, dude.
What is it?
Blankets is a beautiful, beautiful coming of age story.
Will it make me cry?
Oh, I think I've seen a
I-
cover of that. Is it more of like a graphic novel than a comic?
It is. It's one of my favorite books. It's got is this right here? It's Craig Thompson. So I can show you a little bit of the art. So it's an independent book. It's about it first off. It's really sweet. It starts off like a love story between him and his brother, like brotherly love. Then they get
Mhm.
older and they kind of separate. Like, they sleep in different rooms, and it's that first experience of sleeping away from your sibling. And then he falls in love with a girl. And it's about a story about long distance relationships. And there's some beautiful, beautiful like quotes in this book. I absolutely love this book. I would love to read it. There's also there were we could do an all cry episode with God Country and I Killed Giants, Pride of Baghdad, and this. That way y'all could cry and I
Okay,
can put
I've
myself
already
on mute
seen
so
Pride
nobody
Bag- I'm
sees
not going to
that.
read Pride Baghdad. It's too hard. It's too difficult.
Okay,
to read
well, if
about
she
those
can't
lions.
read that, we'll just read We Three instead.
Yeah, We
It's,
Three is
you
a
know-
happy, happy book.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, Amanda, you'll love it.
Oh gosh. How many?
I don't know.
How many episodes do we
I'm
need to do of
worried.
just sad? No.
If we make too many sad books, I will cry on the show. How emotional I get, anyways. You just see me when I read comics and I don't talk about, like, if I'm just reading them at home. It's just me, like, if anything gets too happy or touching or sad or whatever, I'm sobbing. Like reading Detective Comics. Like the Rebirth one, I was crying over Clayface because I was just so touched.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I
So
get it.
imagine, like, We Three instead. It'd be devastating.
I think it depends on the kind of mood. I've cried over some stupid ass issues of Extreme X-Men. I'm like, oh my god, that's so sweet. Jean Grey and Storm are reunited because they were BFFs growing up. And I'm like, why the fuck am I crying? Oh my god, I must have had a bad day.
Just connected to the characters.
I
Yeah.
love me some Storm. That's my girl. Okay, let me go through the list here because there's some really good suggestions.
Yeah, Clark Nato pretty much recommended everything you already put on my Surface for me. Day Trippers, Lock and
Gotcha.
Key.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lock and Key. I think we should save Lock and Key for
Halloween?
October. It has a good.
Oh,
Can we
Being
do a bunch of spooky books for October?
that'd be so much
Yes.
fun.
Yes, we should, and we can do one episode a week because they're kind of short, except for Lock and Key. Lock and Key has 6 trade paperbacks, but
Yes.
it's written by Jonah Hill, and he's Stephen King's son.
Okay.
And-
Okay, that was sorry. Yeah, okay, I'm with you on it now.
He's a wonderful writer. And then let's see, Banana Jester suggested Reading Inhumans. That's the Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee run. That's pretty good too.
Okay.
Iron Cardinal said read some horror, so we'll do that in October.
That's a
Derek-
good idea.
Derek Chua suggested to read Kingdom Come. Want to know if new readers can understand it. That is a good question. And I think they've read enough superhero books where both of them can really, really enjoy it. Kingdom Come, if I were to say Marvel's is the alpha, Kingdom Come would be the omega or bookend to the DC universe. It is the perfect ending to the DC universe to me. It could serve as the bookend. And actually, there was a time when DC editorial was heading that way towards the futuristic Kingdom Come. So I can't wait to read that. That is definitely on the list. Let's see. Sweet Tooth. Mary M. suggesting Sweet Tooth.
What's that?
It's Jeff Lemire series.
Okay.
Now, I'm not the biggest Jeff Lemire's. I'm not a big fan of his art. Hold on, let me see if I can pull something. Where's my Jeff Lemire stuff? Yeah, it's somewhere. Anyway, I'm not a big fan of his art. To me, it takes some getting used to, but he can write some damn good stuff. And I like Sweet Tooth. I thought it was good. So that's a really good suggestion. Let's see. Ray,
isn't that the one Tommy likes?
Yes. So Chew is John Layman's book about a detective that I cannot remember the condition he has, but he has this power where whatever he eats, he gains their memories. It's kind of like iZombie, the way that the comic book iZombie was. So, but he's a detective, and that's how he solves crimes. That's why he's also not and it's anything too, like a vegetarian. Like he can't eat vegetables because he will remember the memories of and the pain that the carrot suffers and things like that. So it's an interesting read, and everybody has their own superpower in a way, and it's kind of cool to read. Marco's suggesting Charles Soule's She-Hulk. Yes, Mary, that's what Jess calls it. Scritchy Scratchy. Scritchy Scratch. That's exactly what we're talking about.
What does Clark Nato mean about the Sweet Tooth and the Fall Out Boy video?
I don't know. Staring the dude from Fall Out Boy's video for sugar. We're going. I don't know. Amanda's a big Fall Out Boy fan.
I've met him 5 times, guys. I love Fall Out Boy. So yeah, you can't just say Fall Out Boy and not get my attention.
Cybopath. Thank you, Daniel. That's what he was called. And his sister has a really cool power too. And I'm not gonna let Amanda hijack this into a Fall Out Boy.
I was not going to.
But I'm glad you finally got to see Teen Titans Go with the song that I was talking about. The hell's the name of the song? I just forgot it.
Hold on, I got it on here.
And Fall Out Boy did a cover of that song.
Yes, the Nightmare Shine. What?
Night Begins to Shine.
Night Begins to Shine. Yeah, that is it. But my daughter has wanted us. We listen to that every morning. Not that the Teen Titan Go movie soundtrack every morning. She wants to listen to it. Loves that soundtrack. Cuban Groove is suggesting Velvet. Book Flippers asking, "What are we talking about again?" It's a great question. That's a great question. What's Punk Rock Jesus? Banana Jester suggested that. Punk Rock Jesus is I've got that here. I love this dude's art. It's Sean Murphy's artwork. Okay. And it's this is his first I just read this a couple months ago actually when I picked it up. It's a black and white comic, but I'm a big fan of Sean Murphy's artwork. That looks nice. Wow, I like that. Yeah, he is solid, but this is his first book I've ever read by him. And it's drawn by him. He's teamed up with he did a book with Mark Miller, the Chrononauts, and then he's doing the White Knight, which is the alternate version of Batman and Joker. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of his artwork. He does some stuff with Rick Remender, like Tokyo Ghost, and Tokyo Ghost is phenomenal. Southern Bastards has been. But Southern Bastards I think is still ongoing, Ray, if I'm not mistaken. We're trying to keep it to things that have just been have wrapped up. Because I think I suggested Lazarus, but somebody had to remind me that that was still ongoing. Daniel just mentioned it too. Yeah. I love Lazarus, but it's not done yet. I think they're going to work on a 3rd and 4th book, so we still got a ways to go. It's just they're taking their time. So I'm getting a sense from all the suggestions, with the exception of a few like Kingdom Come or Inhumans. A lot of people are recommending a lot of our non-superhero. So do you want to do another one? Because I mean, it seems like we've done how many episodes about superheroes? I think Sex Criminals, Banana Jester. I think that one's still going, if I'm not mistaken. That's Matt Fraction's book. Yeah,
Big Hard Sex Criminals. Volume 2 came out this year, and I think that's still ongoing.
Yes.
Sheriff of Babylon is solid. That's a good read, too.
I'm good at the direction we go. I do like if we kind of just diversify it every time we have a show, except for those like big long reads, right? So if we can do sort of like a DC Marvel, and then like every third week is either, or third show is either like a Dark Horse or Boom or Image or something different.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to take it super.
So that way we still just kind of like.
Well, what's the last thing we did? It was oh my God, Jonathan Hickman's Avengers.
Avengers. Right? It was the last thing we did, so we need to do. That's why I still think we should do Infinite.
Well, Infinite Crisis will take a while to read, though, Amanda. We're talking a lot of books.
Well, we need to sit down this weekend and map it out.
Okay.
If we just do one part each month, then everyone can kind of like slowly read with us too, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That would be a good idea. Like, that could be our DC comic for.
Yeah, and then we don't get burnt out by having to read all of it together.
God, right.
You can do like Project and then
I would love to do
whatever.
Hitman, right? Such an underrated book by Garth Ennis. Like, he's talking about Hitman. It's just not being collected. Like, it's been collected in trade paperbacks, but a lot of those trade paperbacks are out of print, unfortunately. Okay, Vision would be a good book. I think, Maddie, you read that, didn't you?
I read it. It's so good. I'll talk about it again. Oh, man, it's so good.
Okay, how about we get some, let's see. How about we get some DC recommendations? So let's bounce back to DC, because we've done Marvel the last time, and then we did Fade Out. So let's get some, like, short DC, either limited series or an event. I think you two are ready for an event, or something classic from the DC.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, Technicolor Sprite is saying, can we read Blackest Night during October? Holy shit, I want to. I
think that'd be nice.
I want these ladies to appreciate it, though. I want them to go and...
I've already read it.
Like, go to Green Lantern, and then move on to Sinestro Corps War, and then move on to the Red Lanterns, and then read Blackest Night so they can be like, oh my god, this event's so amazing! Yeah, like I was when I was reading it. Like I've shared a story.
We can treat that event like we do Infinite Crisis then, just one big like thing kind of mapped out.
And I'm kind of curious as to how you two will feel about Superboy Prime when the time comes when you read about him, because he is by far one of my favorite villains of all time. I know it's one of those characters that people either love or hate, but I love, like I've mentioned before, like pussified, whiny, overpowered boys are like some of my favorite villains. Because they're like, they have no idea how much power they have, except for Anakin. Not Anakin. Darth Vader, yes. Let's see.
I'd like to read some of the not like, because I love Batman, I love Superman, I love all these big names, but I'd like to read something about a DC character we don't talk about a lot.
Yeah,
like someone recommended the Aquaman New 52 run, which I'd be down to read.
Yeah, I've never read any Aquaman.
One of those like Green Arrow off like non-canon books, because I think there's a lot of those too.
Okay, so Brandon recommended A Killing Joke. Cuban Groove, Deadly Class, that's Image, but that's still ongoing, and it's a great book, by the way.
Yeah, I do need to read that.
DC, let's see. Elliot saying DC, huh? What about 52 pickup? Damn it, Elliot. One day, Elliot. Actually, once we get through Infinite Crisis, that might happen.
Okay, well, you do know that once we get through Infinite Crisis, we have to go ahead and read 52 pickup. That's all Elliot wants. Ooh, Swamp Thing. I'd love to read Swamp Thing.
Yeah, that could be a fun one. That'd be different.
Yeah.
Oh, like Alan Moore's something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let me see. That is a total of 6 volumes. Maybe we could do it. Like Alan, I will say Alan Moore is a little wordy during this time, but I mean, if you two are up for it, if we could do it in 2 weeks, I'm good with that. It's up to you. Oh my God, New Frontier is solid, Clarknado. I forgot. That's a good book too. Damn it, there's so many. Okay, you know what?
Yeah, I've never read New Frontier.
We gotta make a decision.
You two decide. I'll let you two choose.
Shoot.
As long as it's a DC book and
see, now
you can tackle it.
We got quite a few for Aquaman. I don't know. I mean,
what's the definitive Aquaman run?
I don't know. They said
let's
what would they suggest if we did?
Actually, Geo suggested the New 52 Aquaman, which is a solid kind of restart of his origin, the Jeff Johns stuff. He kind
Okay.
of makes Aquaman a badass again, kind of like the way Peter David did. Unfortunately, there's only 2 trades of Peter David's Aquaman. I don't.
And I
Yeah,
own the Jeff Johns New 52 Aquaman. Haven't read it yet, so for me that would be beneficial because I already
Like,
own
that
it.
gives me an excuse, and it's completely
Okay.
done, is what Philip said.
Okay, then do me a favor, Maddie, if you got them handy, because mine are all the way over there. How many are there?
Yeah. I've got 4 of them. I don't think he did much more than that. Let me see.
I think and there's an omnibus coming out. Let me double check what the
Yeah,
list
well, of
was.
course. You know, they
Yeah,
just
well, when I'll
wait
get
until-
on.
Well, it is Jeff Johns and Aquaman in the movie coming out.
Yeah, that's
That
why.
thing was canceled before, though. Okay, so it looks like it collects issues 0 through 25, and the crossover with the Justice League 15 through 17. So that's probably collected in your 4 trades.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
so.
Okay, let's do it. That's
Okay,
it.
let's do Aquaman.
All right.
I'm all here for
All
it.
right, Gio.
Sweet.
We love you. We love you, man. So we're gonna do Aquaman, New 52,
Yeah.
Woo!
Jeff Johns, 1
Jeff
through
Johns.
25, and the crossover with the Justice League. So the crossover should be included in those trades.
Okay, I'll check. If not,
I
then
think they are.
you can
They are.
download them
Okay.
for me.
Let's see. Philip Evans saying he's saying it is.
It
So,
is, yes, it looks like.
Okay.
So many books, so little time. You are right, my friend.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
know.
so yes, Philip Evans, I'm with you. Peter David is a better Aquaman, but it's just not out. Like there's only 2 trades so far, and I'm hoping for more. So, all right, we're gonna read a little Arthur Curry.
Woo.
Excellent. Now, are there any questions for the 2 ladies before we sign off? Go ahead and ask away.
You got 6
You
minutes.
don't have to ask me anything.
6 minutes.
6 minutes. You got somewhere to be, Maddie?
It's sleep.
Oh boy!
At 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock.
I gotta put my
Maddie got Daddy's sleep
I can
last
still
night.
hear her over here screaming and yelling and playing.
I have a question for you, Amanda.
What?
Is that the TARDIS on Dagobah?
Yeah!
And Yoda is
I got it at the
levitating
Little Rock Comic Con when I was pregnant 2 years ago. It's Yoda's lifting it out of the water. Or the swamp, sorry.
the water, the swamps of Dagobah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I've been like, this has been waiting to be put up for like almost 3 years now.
And I'm sorry, are those real books with no pictures on the left-hand side of you?
Well,
Or,
I didn't want
to your
empty
right.
shelves, so yes, my Harry Potter collection. Yeah, I'm sorry, and my Doctor
That better-
Who and my Buffy. Yeah, it's all. Yes, because when I was
That better get
12,
filled up
I collected
by
all the
Aquaman.
Buffy trade paperbacks, novels, because I love me Buffy Summers. That's all. That's
We
all
need
I
to
wanted
read
to
the
be.
Buffy. Do you read the Buffy comic, Amanda?
I have this.
Ooh, okay. If you want to borrow some, we've got
This is all I've read was this whole thing. So I know
season
Dawn of the
8
Giant
and
and
then season 9, volume 1.
Ooh,
I'm
I
sure
can
Elliot
read
will
it.
let you borrow it.
Yes,
Elliot,
I
you're
would love
watching.
to. Because now I have plenty
Can
of time.
Amanda borrow
Can I borrow
the Buffy books,
please?
please?
Yeah, but that I had to get because I won't see Sarah Michelle Gellar. She's too busy making her food stirs now, so she won't ever be Buffy Summers again.
How do you feel about the reboot?
Yeah, I feel with that.
I don't know. Is she supposed to be? She's just another Slayer, right? She's not Buffy.
No.
No, I thought it was called Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
It is? Okay, I don't know. She said it's. I guess I'll get over it, and it's because to me it's all. I know there was someone else who played Buffy even before Sarah Michelle Gellar, but to me that whole crew, the chemistry between her and the Scooby Gang and everything, it was just so perfect. I just hope they're able to, not recreate it exactly because they can't, but make something new and different that I can at least enjoy, I guess. I don't know. I don't
I
know.
understand.
It's like if they tried to reboot Friends. I don't think that. I just don't want to see that.
Yeah, I
Okay,
wanna see that.
don't compare Buffy to Friends.
It's
Okay, maybe it was a little hokey like Friends, but
it had its
I'm
hokey
okay.
moments. I mean,
I'm
it's not
open
lie.
to it. Although, because I do think it's. I'm sure people will go back and it's very dated. like a lot of the slang and everything. So I'm sure for new viewers, it's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And some people were like mad, like, well, why can't they just continue on from where it left off? And I was like,
Yeah.
well, the canon continues past the show, and
And no
things
one
get very
realizes that.
complicated.
And very
And
weird.
Dawn becomes a centaur, and everything's real weird. So, like,
Well,
I
because
don't
they
think
don't.
we can do that.
They're not limited to the TV budget. Now that's like, oh, we have all this non-existing money. We can do whatever we want with the show.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Which there were a couple
Elliot
of lines
says you can
to get me
borrow
goosebumps.
our Buffy.
Yeah, once more feeling. No, I even have I even have the Sunnydale High School yearbook.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I was such a really big nerd.
You say you were? I'm sorry.
I'm
You
sorry, I still am. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I loved it. I think I even have a script in here. Yeah, season 1, volume 2, the script book. I just love, she was that.
And
was
just
my-
like that, Amanda was able to flip this into Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Amanda, what if this
What if-
Halloween we dressed up as a Scooby Gang
Ah!
and go out or do something? I don't know.
Yes. Well, I would
Oh,
have
I
a
get-
Halloween party at my
Umbrella.
house. So
I get to be Sander.
Of course, you're Santa.
yeah. So with the goatee, you could be Oz, but that's fine. Because he had a goatee.
Oz. I didn't like Oz. I like Xander. That was my man crush on that show. All right, let's see. So here's some questions. The first one is from Connor. He's asking, when's this next one happening? When is this next one happening, ladies? When are we doing the next
Are you
episode?
giving us 2 weeks to read New 52 Aquaman?
I think 2 weeks is good enough for 4 trade paperbacks. So why don't we shoot on August 28th? Cool?
Perfect. Right
That
before,
works for
yeah.
me.
Okay, so August 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so the same time this episode started, we will come back and talk about New 52
Yeah.
Aquaman. And then there was how long, Keeping Grooves asking how long is the Peter David run. I want to say he did a mini-series, The Time and Tide, and then there was a 7-issue mini-series about the Chronicles of Atlantis, and then there was like a 45, 46-issue run. But I will say that he did not get to finish his run. And I think it was DNA that came in and finished that run for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then they didn't get to finish their story, and I can't remember who took over after they left. DC at the time was really pissing writers off. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Philip Evans answered that. Let's see. Mary M is saying, I'm with you, Amanda. There's only one Buffy.
I know.
Once more with feeling. Yes, Ellie. Yeah. Wonderful.
We'll sing that at
I see
karaoke
why.
this weekend.
Book Flipper saying, I see why The Last Man in that collection. It's epic. Yes, it is. Have you read that yet? Have either one of you two read that?
No.
I've read some of it because Corey was reading it. That's why.
Oh, you two should read it. They are quite wonderful.
I'm excited to see what the TV show is going to be like. That's on FX.
I definitely think you should read it before the TV show ruins spoilers for you. Let's see. So Elliot. Elliot is asking, who is your favorite hero and why is it Booster Gold?
Why is it Booster Gold?
I think it's because of that Adam. It's because of that Adam Hughes cover where he's flexing.
Every episode forever, you guys. Every episode, Elliot's gonna ask the same question until we finally read.
I'm gonna give you the definitive answers because of that Adam Hughes cover where he's flexing and he's got like his ass out.
Does someone have that? I need to see a picture of this.
I'll find it later and I'll share it to you.
Okay, just send it to me.
Let's see. Clark Nato is asking me how I feel about the Brubaker's X-Men run. I hated Deadly Genesis, but I realized it was not his idea.
Mm-hmm.
The Rise and Fall of the Shi'ar Empire is awesome. I really liked it. And, it's part of the big cosmic saga, so I'm glad that he got to write that. And you could tell he kind of lost interest in the characters in the book by the time Matt Fraction was co-writing with him. So, I mean, it was okay, but the big 12-issue arc, The Rise and Fall of the Shi'ar Empire, was solid. X-Men in space fun. Let's see. Ray asking Giles or Wesley.
Well,
Wesley.
He said if he
What a
was
tragic hero.
Giles.
Okay, I'm going to ask Giles or Wesley.
Giles.
Oh,
Wow, that was
100%.
quick. Poor Wesley.
Man,
Anthony
if that
Forehead?
was,
yeah.
I
all
was
day
so
long.
into Giles.
Mhm. Anthony, yes.
Still.
Okay, I'm not going to lie. When he started singing, I was too.
Oh God, he's so
Oh.
good.
Clarknado saying he finally finished Fables the other day.
Oh, that's
Still
on
not
my
sure
to-do
how
list.
he feels
I
about it.
love Fables. And that was one of my first comics I read. Like before I was even into comics, I read through all of Fables.
It probably
Like
should have been mine, but
years and years ago. And I guess it was finished when I read it, but I don't remember. I'd like to read it again or pick it up.
we
But
should.
I'm
I
not even
have the
sure
first 2 volumes right here, courtesy of Omar for Christmas one year.
Nice.
So I should read it.
Yeah,
What's the best
she
way
was
to
into
collect that, Omar? Do you know?
Once Upon
Is
a
there like
Time. Well, there is no omnibus. I waited exactly like 6, 7. Like I've been waiting 5 years for an omnibus. So in the Facebook group, the collectors group that we're part of, somebody was selling the hardcover sets, which that's as big as the omnibuses are going to be, or as tall. So I'm like,
Right.
I'll go ahead and buy it, and now they can announce an omnibus, so I can double dip and
Yeah.
pre-order it. So I think they're all in print, but the oversized hardcovers are the way to go. They're nice.
Mhm.
They're nice. That's the way I would do it. There are 16 of them, if I'm not mistaken, 15 or 16 of them, and then they're starting to do the Jack of Fables. And Jack of Fables was okay. It had
I'm
its
not really
funny
interested
moments.
in that. I think.
There were some really funny moments, but you don't really need it, and the crossover issues are in the hardcover. So if you're not a fan of Jack,
Did you play the
don't need
game?
them.
Omar?
Oh, the
Wolf
what are they
Among
called? Yes, I really like that. Same guys that did the Walking Dead stuff. What are they called?
Yeah.
What are the type of games? What are those called?
Telltale.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, they're coming out with part 2 next year, finally. A million years later.
So Ray's asking if we've ever read Flight.
Yeah.
Flight is it's wonderful. So what it is, actually back when I was reviewing comic books for my website, those were the kind of books that they would send me. I want to say it was Random House Publishing, whatever their comic book department was called, that was not manga. They would send me those books. And what it is an anthology by different creators, different writers, different artists. There's 8 volumes, and I only have the first 7, and I need to pick up the 8th one. I need to quit beating around the bush and just get it. And so it's an anthology of just short story collections, and every little story has to do with some kind of flight. They're wonderful. Like they make really good like coffee table books and things like that. Like, or if you just want to pick up something really quick, they're really thick, and I think they were $24.95 retail price. Some of them are out of print, but they are a great read. Some of them are really moving. Some of them are funny, and just different kind of stories. Little anthology collection by different creators. I really dug it. Let's see. Recommend Image series other than Saga and Walking Dead. Ooh. Well, I'm sure we can all say The Fade Out for sure.
That's an Image comic.
Definitely recommend. What did you say?
Snot
right,
Girl.
Snot Girl.
Okay.
If you
Snot
like a
Girl.
mystery, read Snot Girl.
I'm gonna look through my shelf here, so this is kind of cheating. I Kill Giants, God Country, Paper Girls, Descender.
Oh, for sure, Paper Girls.
We Stand on Guard is a short standalone story. Anything by Ed Brubaker, Fatale, Velvet, Lazarus by Greg Rucka. It's wonderful. Chew, that's a fun book. So is Invincible. Invincible is a fun book. Let's see. Scene of the Crime, which is the very first Ed Brubaker and Shawn Phillips and Michael Lark collaboration. Phil Evans. And what else is there that I recommend? Oh, anything but Deadly Class, Black Science, anything by Rick Remender just about Tokyo Ghost. Those are all awesome. And trying to think what else. If you like art, maybe just those Spawn hardcovers, because I'm a big fan of Tom McFarlane's artwork. Those are solid hardcovers. And I think that's pretty much it. That's what I would recommend. I think somebody threw out Big Hard Sex Criminals out there, so that's a pretty good book. What about you two, besides Snot Girl and
I don't know too many Image comics, so I'll have to defer to
The Fade Out?
The Fade Out, yes.
I'm not sure what all I've read that is
Image.
I've read a lot of stuff online lately, and I'm trying to think of like what's Image and what's not, because I'm not
Literally, I
even
knew
sure.
it my
Because
husband
since
said
I've been in
that.
my buying ban, I've just been reading like stuff on Comixology like constantly. I will agree with Paper Girls though. I've only read the first volume, and I want to read all of the rest.
Yes.
but but yeah, as far as Image goes, Snot Girl's number one for me right now. But I've also been reading a lot of Boom lately too, so I don't know.
Yeah, Boom is solid. Let's see. Spawn. Joking. Phillips. American Gods graphic novel was surprisingly good. I haven't read that, Joseph Kelly. I've read that's one of my actually that's my favorite Neil Gaiman book. So I may need to check that out.
Yeah, I'd like to see that in a graphic novel format.
Yeah, the Max, but that doesn't even belong to Image anymore. Now that's being released by IDW. And
Hmm.
the stupid omnibus is this freaking softcover omnibus because they don't fucking learn their lesson. Sorry, I'm a little bitter about IDW releasing that as a softcover omnibus. Who the hell wants that? But it's recolored, so I'm kind of curious. Did you all watch the Max growing up? Like it was the TV show on MTV. Maybe a little too old school for Maddie.
What year?
Never mind. Never mind. I didn't either. It's way too old for me.
Was it before or after Beavis and Butthead?
It was after, like, around the time the Head came out.
Like Daria time?
Probably right before Daria. It didn't last very long. It was only like 12 or 13 episodes.
No, probably. Yeah. It may have, but if I remembered it, I wouldn't because it didn't last that long, I guess.
Okay, well, I'm glad
Yeah.
I'm not the only bitter one, Philip. Best butt in comics, and why is it night? Okay, I can play that game.
Man, I wish I had that.
My
Nightwing
wife says the same thing
figure.
about Nightwing's butt. She's like, "There's not enough butt shots of Nightwing."
Oh my god, I gotta get that figure. That new Nightwing figure where he's like,
No, I'm not buying that.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm probably gonna end up buying that figure.
I will live vicariously through Maddie.
Well,
I'm gonna say
it's because
I'm gonna go with
I feel
Storm.
like a lot of people deserve to have those goofy, like, sexy male figures.
Yeah.
You know, you can turn redhead now. I'm just buying it so that way, like, maybe one day they'll make Roy Harper. So that's my purpose for, like, spending money. Give me my
Okay.
Roy Harper figure, please.
Yeah.
All right. So, Amanda, let's see.
Yes.
Why don't you sign us off?
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching and being so active in the chat tonight. We really appreciate it. And thanks for listening to me and Maddie and our review of the Fade Out. We'll be back in 2 weeks on the 28th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I was here too. Like,
oh yeah, and Omar. I'm so glad that we have Omar and all of his infinite wisdom on comics. Without him, we don't know where we'd be.
that sounds a lot better, actually. Okay.
So we'll be back in 2 weeks, 28th Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. We're going to read the New 52 Aquaman. So read with us, catch us then, and be on the lookout for updates on our our YouTube channel, and also all of our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, my favorite place to be. So
we don't have a Snapchat, right? That's probably a good thing.
No, yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot of
Snapchat. I feel so old when I try. Just give up.
I have Snapchat, but I feel like if we had it, I just want to snap other people. I don't want them to snap me back.
Yeah, like it's just
that's too much power for other people to have.
It's just too many social media things to keep up with too. I can't do it. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening to us and talking with us, and we'll see y'all soon.
Yes, thank you. And real quick, Gio, thank you for that recommendation, buddy.
Yes. All right. Night, guys.
Night, guys.